Welcome to Fix It Home Improvement, covering projects that every homeowner should know and great products for home and garden.
Hi, I'm JC, and this is where we share weekly home improvement tips. I'm here with my co-host, Cindy.
Hello, JC.
Hi, Cindy. This week we're going to be talking about clothes dryer maintenance, and we'd like to thank A. Hawkbird for giving us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts, and A likes our accents.
Do you think we have an accent?
No, I never really thought about it. I think everybody else has an accent.
So we probably do.
In 1950, only about 10% of U.S. homes had a clothes dryer, and only the wealthy could afford one. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, a dryer in 1950 would cost about $1,600 in today's dollars.
Wow.
When we were doing the research for laundry room organization last week.
I was going to ask you that. Are we doing like themes for the month now?
Yes. All laundry room stuff all month.
So next week's going to be washing machine maintenance?
There you go. Laundry room flooring. There was a recent U.S. Census Bureau report that says only about 81% of U.S. homes has a dryer now, which seems
Really?
low. Seems low to me. The National Fire Protection Association did a study between 2010 and 2014. They said there were over 15,000 home fires caused by clothes dryers or washers. There were 13 deaths and 440 injuries. Wow. And the leading cause of the fires were dryers from dust, fibers, and lint. And they said the primary cause was dryers that weren't kept clean. Mm-hmm. The U.S. Fire Administration says lint is highly combustible, and as lint accumulates, it reduces airflow and can pose a potential fire hazard in a dryer. Mm-hmm. Along with lint, nests from birds and other animals can damage the exhaust system and block airflow, which can cause a dryer to overheat and start a fire.
Right.
In a conventional clothes dryer, air is drawn in through vents. It's heated by an electric element or a gas burner. That heated air passes through holes in the dryer drum. The drum spins to allow airflow around your clothes and remove moisture, and then that moist air is vented out of the house. Mm-hmm. So airflow is the key to keeping a dryer working efficiently and safely. So one of the first tips is don't store clothes or other items on top of your dryer because they can fall behind or around the dryer and block the air vents, depending on where they're located, which could potentially restrict airflow and cause a fire.
Okay.
Check your manual for the space recommended on the sides and behind your unit. The manuals I looked at wanted 1 inch of space on each side and 6 inches behind the unit for airflow, and then room for your exhaust duct. Mm-hmm. Check your exhaust duct. There are 3 main types: solid metal, semi-solid flexible aluminum, and thin foil-like aluminum flexible duct. If you have plastic flexible ductwork, you need to replace it because it will burn and release toxic fumes. The flexible plastic duct is for bathroom fans.
Only, right?
Right. The International Association of Certified Home Inspectors says dryer ducts should be rigid metal with smooth surfaces, and the joint should be running in the direction of the airflow. They say don't use screws to connect sections of rigid duct. The screw tips can collect lint and reduce airflow, creating a fire risk. Use metal foil tape designed for heat. Don't use duct tape. The glue can dry out over time with the heat. If you're picking up the semi-rigid aluminum ductwork, look for UL approved for dryers. And this is going to be much thicker than that thin foil aluminum duct. A couple of the manuals I looked at said do not use metal foil duct and replace metal foil duct if you have it on your dryer. The foil can sag, collecting lint and restricting airflow, or it can be torn easily, allowing lint and moisture into your living space. And if you have a gas dryer, it can allow carbon monoxide to get into your living space.
That sucks.
Yeah. Well, that's scary. I mean, you could have a leak of carbon monoxide behind your dryer and not even know it. Something falls behind there and tears this. The U.S. Fire Administration says only rigid or semi-solid flexible metal vent should be used for proper airflow and drying times. Flexible plastic or foil-type duct is susceptible to kinks or crushing, which could reduce airflow. They say make sure you inspect the venting behind your dryer to make sure it's not damaged or crushed. Routinely, you should be checking the outside vent cover to make sure the flap's open when the dryer's on, and check it periodically to make sure birds, animals, or insects aren't blocking the vent. If you've just moved into a new home, you should check how the dryer is vented, the type of duct that's used, and how far the duct runs, because you may want to change the duct or how it exits your house for safety. The International Association of Certified Home Inspectors, they say don't exceed 35 feet from the dryer to where it exits the house, and reduce the length 2.5 feet for each 45-degree elbow you use, and reduce the length 5 feet for each 90-degree elbow. But check with the manufacturer's recommendations for your dryer, so you should be checking your manual. I looked at a Sears Kenmore dryer manual. It said the maximum duct length should be 25 feet, but reduce the distance 5 feet for each elbow you use. They said over 25 feet can cause back pressure and potentially be a fire hazard.
Really?
Yeah, interesting, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Some of the manuals I looked at, they had a chart. So it had the type of duct and the distance. One of the manuals said only use 4-inch exhaust duct with 4-inch wide duct hood covers or louvered vent covers. And in that chart, it said if you have 2 elbows with rigid duct, the max length is 47 feet. If you have 2 elbows with semi-rigid duct, the max length is 30 feet. Then they said deduct 6 feet for each additional elbow that you use and do not exceed 4 elbows. They said the duct must have a weatherproof hood cover, so that's the cover on the outside of the house, with hinged dampers to prevent a backdraft, but check your manual for your model.
Right.
The manuals I read recommend removing the duct and cleaning out the buildup of lint once a year. If your clothes are taking longer to dry or not fully drying, if the vent outside seems to have low exhaust velocity or the flaps on the cover just aren't opening as wide as they usually do, you need to clean out your duct, even
or
if
if
it's...
you see a bunch of lint being collected
Yeah,
outside.
if it looks dirty and blocked, anything that's going to slow down that movement of air potentially could cause a fire in your home. Most ducts are going to be held in place with a stainless steel band with a screw drive or a metal band with squeeze tabs. So you're going to remove the clamp from the dryer and the duct going to the outside, and then you're going to clean that duct with a 4-inch duct brush. Lint Eater, it's L-I-N-T, capital E-A-T-E-R. Lint Wizard, L-I-N-T, capital W-I-Z-A-R-D. And Everbuilt have dryer brushes.
You're not going to spell that?
E-V-E-R-B-I-L-T.
Thank you.
Yeah, I guess it's unique, B-I-L-T. And you can pick these up at a home center or a hardware store. And if they're out, like at your local hardware store, they can order that for you.
Right.
For long lengths of duct that would be hard to disconnect, or let's say you've got it going up through your attic and out of your house, you can buy a kit with flexible rods. They connect together, and then you would use a cordless drill to push it up through this and pull it back out. And when you're using it, you want to keep your drill always in the forward position, because if you put it in reverse, you could potentially unscrew the rods, and it would all be in your ductwork, which would definitely reduce the airflow if you've got that 4-inch brush in your duct.
Can't you use like electrical tape on the rods to keep them together?
For the kit I used, you use 2 pliers and you tighten the rods together and then put electrical tape on it. But if you keep it in the forward position, it's not going to unscrew.
So you should look at the videos on our YouTube channel.
Yes, Fix It Home Improvement. The Consumer Product Safety Commission says most dryer fires start in the lint trap. But I read an article from Sears, and they say a lot of fires start inside the cavity of the dryer. And once it catches fire in there, it travels through the duct, and then it can set your house on fire. So Sears recommends opening up the dryer and vacuuming the inside of the unit regularly Some units open from the front after you lift up the top, and some have access from the back panel, so you can check your manual.
Well, there was one time I had just finished a load of laundry at my parents' house.
Okay.
And I was emptying it, and I'm like, why does it smell like something's burning?
Yeah, scary.
So I, opened it up, and
Right.
I was able to vacuum out the inside of it.
Smart.
I doubt they had ever done that.
Right? Yeah. Well, it's funny how many homeowners don't realize how important it is to have a yearly routine to get rid of this lint buildup.
Well, even just emptying the lint trap every time you use it.
Right, absolutely. And that's one of the key things that all these manuals said is every time you use your dryer, clean that lint screen. Because you, again, it's all about airflow for safety and efficiency.
Easy. I mean,
it's
just
great
part of
habit.
doing
Right?
The laundry is you empty the lint trap.
Exactly. The U.S. Fire Administration recommends having a professional clean the inside of the dryer regularly, along with the duct yearly. So it's interesting, something like this. I don't think most homeowners even think about opening the unit up, but I guess a lot of lint builds up inside the cavity of the dryer.
Yeah, I'm sure. Especially if you're not emptying it.
Right? And besides cleaning your duct once a year, you should pull out your dryer and vacuum any vent openings under it on the side and back.
Right.
Clean behind and around the unit. Pull the lint screen out and use a narrow vacuum hose attachment to get inside that lint trap opening. The U.S. Fire Administration recommends having a professional check the gas connection yearly if you have a gas dryer or if you've just moved into a new home, and replace the gas connector if you replace your gas dryer. Never reuse the old gas connector. Some other tips from the U.S. Fire Administration and the manuals I read. They recommend keeping flammable material and vapors away from a dryer. A dryer should be raised 18 inches off the floor if you install it in a garage, but check your manual. Check the outdoor vent cover routinely to make sure it's not blocked by snow if you live in a cold climate or any debris. Don't use the dryer while you're away from your home or at night when you're sleeping. And read the tags on anything you're drying. Do not dry anything containing foam rubber or rubber-like material. They were cautioning about bath mats, padded bras, small rugs, and children's bibs. They say these items shouldn't be exposed to hot temperatures. They say don't dry anything that has a tag that says dry away from heat. Don't dry anything exposed to cooking oils. It can cause a fire.
Wow.
They say wash it and then allow it to air dry.
Right.
Don't dry anything that had any flammable products on it. Even after washing, it can cause a fire or an explosion. Only air dry the material. Don't use the dryer without the lint screen in place, and clean the lint screen after every use. Don't have paper, boxes, clothing, or anything combustible around your dryer. And a couple manuals I read said do not use fabric softeners or products to eliminate static unless it's marked specifically dryer safe. A couple articles I read recommend liquid fabric softeners that you use in the washing machine rather than dryer sheets. They say dryer sheets are coated with fatty acids or other chemicals that melt when they're heated, and this coats your clothes to reduce static and to make them feel softer. But the chemicals build up on the lint screen and the inside of the dryer drum. It can attract lint, grease, and other debris, blocking or reducing airflow, which can reduce energy efficiency and overheat the unit, potentially creating a fire hazard.
I didn't know that's how it worked.
Yeah, interesting. So it's coating everything.
Yeah.
They say dryer sheets can also coat the electronic moisture sensors in some machines, causing them to not operate properly. So they're recommending you should be cleaning your sensors if you have it at least once a month, and you can check out where they are and what you should be using on them in your manual.
Okay.
Sears recommends cleaning your lint screen thoroughly every 3 months with a brush, warm water, and some liquid detergent to remove the buildup left over from dryer sheets. Then wipe down the inside of the drum with a microfiber cloth and a small amount of rubbing alcohol, and that's going to help remove the dryer sheet residue inside the drum. But check your manual for your unit. You should turn off the gas if you have a gas dryer and unplug the unit. If it's electric, you should probably unplug it anyway because rubbing alcohol is highly flammable. It evaporates very quickly, so once you use it, it's not going to be a problem after a few minutes. And you need to keep your door open until it evaporates,
Right.
or maybe just use white vinegar instead of a highly flammable rubbing alcohol. I read an article in Scientific America and a similar article in Reader's Digest about the FTC not requiring dryer sheets to identify what chemicals are used for their fragrances.
Really?
Many of these chemicals will stay on your clothes for extended periods of time, and some research shows that in some people it can pose a respiratory health risk.
Really?
They're saying unscented dryer sheets and liquids are considered much safer. And we've talked about this before with laundry soap and the potential health risk with the scented products.
Right.
Follow the loading instructions for your model. Overloading a dryer can damage the drum belt, bearings, or pulley. Don't vent your dryer into a crawl space or attic. Only vent it outside. Make sure your ductwork is secure for gas dryers. Carbon monoxide is vented out through the duct. And carbon monoxide is odorless, tasteless, and deadly. And I don't think a lot of homeowners realize that, too. So the ductwork is very important with a gas dryer.
Right.
You should have a CO detector and a smoke detector in your laundry room. First Alert, Kidde, and Google Nest are all top-rated smoke and CO detectors. First Alert is FIRST, capital ALERT. Kidde is KIDDE. And Google Nest, it's NEST. Have a fire extinguisher by your laundry room. An ABC-rated fire extinguisher will put out flammable material like wood, paper, and cloth, flammable liquids, and electrical fires. Kidde and First Alert both have top-rated fire extinguishers for the home. I saw an interesting product while I was doing some research. It's called the Elide Fireball. It's ELIDE. And you should check out their site. It's this ball that you throw at a fire, and if it's in a flame for 3 to 5 seconds, it explodes and releases a fire suppressant. How cool is it?
Yes, you made me watch the video.
The company AKE has the Stop Fire mini fire extinguisher, and Stop Fire is STOP, capital FYRE. It's a multi-shot fire extinguisher with a lifetime guarantee, and this uses liquefied gas to put out a fire. So it's pretty interesting. So there's no mess if you use it. There's no powder, and you should check out their video on their website.
Exciting. Do you have anything else to add?
Clean the lint screen after every use. Check the vent cover for airflow a few times a year, and clean out the duct once a year and then all around your dryer. Keep the area around your dryer free of anything combustible. Don't use the dryer when you're away or asleep, and if you have plastic or foil ductwork, replace it. And also read your manual.
Let's wrap this up.
You can subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, CastBox, or your favorite podcast app.
If you enjoyed it, please leave us a review.
You can check out our home improvement videos on our YouTube channel, Fix It Home Improvement.
And you can subscribe to that as well.
You can download our ebooks, Home Improvement Solutions, What Every Homeowner Should Know, books 1 through 12, and soon book 13 on Amazon.
If you enjoyed it, please leave us a 5-star rating and review.
You can follow Cindy on Twitter at FixItCohost. You can follow us on Instagram, FixItHomeImprovement. And you can email us at fixitpodcast@gmail.com.
Thank you for listening.
Talk to you next week.